The Jets improved to 5-2, but was the win worth the losses? Well. Welcome back to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am Wat2K99. Thank you, as always, for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoy what you're watching, hitting the like is very much appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and share with a friend. So let's talk about this Jets victory today. A 16-9 victory in the mile-high city of Denver, Colorado. It was an ugly win. Now, not that I care about that. We've been telling you, myself and a lot of other Jets content providers, this was not going to be a pretty game. It was not going to be an aesthetically pleasing game. It was going to be grimy. It was going to be gritty. It was going to be ugly. And it was probably going to come down to the last drive, and that is what happened. So we will get in a moment to the three plays you might not recall that affected the outcome of this game. But I will summarize just a couple of things, a few initial observations. I'm going to start with the negative here. 11 penalties for 85 yards the Jets took, 3 of which were on Duane Brown. This is becoming a recurring theme with this team. It is not acceptable. They've been able to get away with it. They're not going to continue to get away with it over these next 3 games, where they face the Patriots twice and the Bills. They cannot beat themselves. They don't have enough talent, especially right now, in my opinion, to beat those 2 teams on talent alone, because the Patriots are not going to beat themselves. And we know the Bills are probably the best team possibly in football, either the best or second best, but probably the best. The other thing that continues to worry me is third downs. We've been talking about the Jets only converted 1 third down against Green Bay. In this game, they only converted 3 of 14. Mike LaFleur, it is time to go down into your lab, the downstairs lab. Take a break from cooking your blackened salmon and figure out some plays that will work for third down, because it is not working for this offense. Now, with the offense, a lot of the blame is going on Zach Wilson. I did not expect Zach to have a big game to begin with. When Elijah Moore was not going to play in this game, that didn't help matters. Then Corey Davis gets hurt. That hurt things even more. Then you throw in the injury to Alijah Vera-Tucker, who's currently having his elbow evaluated, and then you lose the engine of the offense. You lose Breece Hall in the second quarter. I don't know what Zach was supposed to do. He was running for his life. I don't understand some of the moves he makes where he is just desperate to extend the plays, like the whirly-durly, move that he made that could have been called a fumble very early in the game was not very pleasant to watch. So to me, his instincts are a little bit all over the map. I think he has the instincts of a daredevil where he is just trying to extend plays any way he can. But there are occasional times when you just got to eat it. You just got to live to fight another play in this case. So I will say a couple things, though, about him. I do believe he is showing that he is capable of making big throws when they have to be made. The accuracy is not as good as we want it to be. There are throws that are going behind receivers, things like that. I mean, he was completing over 70% of his passes his senior year at BYU. Zach, to me, is really, even though Zach shows his great escapability, he really does need that time. He needs a couple of seconds in the pocket. He just needs it. When he's, he might escape a sack, but it is not working. The offensive line today was terrible. Duane Brown did not have a good game at all. Laken Tomlinson got schooled by Bradley Chubb at least once or twice. AVT went out. Cedric O came in. The line didn't do well in pass block or run block, except for the one long touchdown by Breece. So if the Jets are going to have any chance of winning these next couple of divisional games, the offensive line, they got to take another step up, and we better hope AVT can play. So I wanted to mention that, and just Zach's numbers: 16 for 26, 121 yards, sacked 3 times in this game. I just don't know what he was supposed to do with his limited resources, and 2 against probably the best pass defense in the NFL. between Pat Surtain and Justin Simmons in the secondary. You have Bradley Chubb rushing the passer. Baron Browning, he's an excellent player, although he did get hurt late in the game and did go out. So it was not easy for the Jets. And DJ Jones, I told defensive line, is a guy that a lot of us wanted. Unfortunately, they didn't quite get him. Denver did, and Denver's better off for it. I will give the defense some credit. The secondary was great. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed were the team's leading tacklers, and they were hitting well. They were covering well. LaMarcus Joyner, of course, has the big interception. I was really, really pleased with the way the secondary played. Braden Mann, 54.8 yards per punt, 8 punts. Man, he was killing it. Now, you say, oh, he's got the mile-high air, so it's going to go a little bit farther. Well, that might be true, but he was putting a couple punts inside the 20. There were one or two others that came just about a foot away from being inside the 5-yard line. I really liked what I saw from Braden Mann. And as far as where the Jets really are overall right now, they've now won more games this year than they did in all of 2021. So they're 5-2. If they just go 5-5 the rest of the way, 5-5, and this is a schedule that includes such powerhouses as Detroit, Chicago, Jacksonville. There are some good teams. You got Minnesota, you've got Buffalo twice, you've got New England twice. But there is no reason why the Jets can't, I would say, go 500. I know losing Breece Hall, even if it is for the season, is a bad, bad injury. But you know what? You still have Michael Carter. Now, Michael Carter is a very good running back. He's not an elite top-flight running back, but he can be your top running back if other things around him are working. Now, I will say this. We do not need to see Ty Johnson as the number 2 running back. Every carry I see Ty Johnson, I try to forget he's even on the team. So, you know what time it just might be? I know I don't have a watch on, so let's go to the phone. It's nighttime. No, not N-I-G-H-T. I'm saying K-N-I-G-H-T. Bam Knight. I hope Bam Knight gets called up from the practice squad, gets signed to the active roster if Breece Hall does have to go on IR, as a lot of us are expecting. And let's see a few plays each day for Bam Knight. Let's see what he can do. I don't want to trade an asset right now for a running back. That is not my preference. I heard one person say, a few people, let's go after A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon has done nothing for Green Bay this year. Please. Cam Akers, I know he's a little bit of another malcontent with the Rams. Hey, shoot, maybe they'll take Elijah Moore for him. I don't think I want to do that. No, I don't think I'm interested in that. But I don't know what L.A. would want in exchange for Cam Akers, but I'm very hesitant to trade anything more than maybe a 5th-round pick for a running back for this season. I'm just not really feeling it. So, like I said, 3 straight division games. And, if the Jets do win 10 games, even if they don't make the playoffs, I mean, who wouldn't have signed up for that at the beginning of the season? I think a lot of us, me included, thought that 10 wins was the absolute ceiling if everything went right. And now they have a chance to be even better. So a lot of it is going to depend on these injuries. It is a little bit of a hollow feeling that I have in my stomach right now because these players are, outside the quarterback, 3 of the most important, you could say 3 of the 5 most important players on this offense. And now, with a New England defense coming up that's getting better and better and better, what is Mike LaFleur going to do? How is he going to devise an offense without their best player, possibly their best offensive lineman, the wide receiver that Zach Wilson is most comfortable with? How is he going to design that offense to be successful against New England, where they could score, in the 20s? How's he going to do it? I can't wait to find out. Well, that's next week. Let's stay on this week, and we're going to get into the top 3 plays you might not recall that affected the outcome of this game. So with play number 1, we're going to go to the second quarter with 4:46 to go in the second quarter. At this point, the Denver Broncos have the football. The Jets are up 7-6 at this point. All right, so Denver has the ball on the Jets' 19-yard line, and they get called, one of their tight ends, I believe, gets called for a false start. 5-yard penalty. It's now a 2nd and 13. I'm actually sort of combining 2 plays into one really here. So I'm not going to quite call the penalty because it's sort of a play, but nothing really consequential happened except for the loss of 5 yards. So, but the play after that, it's now 2nd and 13. That was the snap where Brett Rippon fumbled the ball. Okay, he fumbled the shotgun snap. Now, the ball did jump right in his hands, but the play was kind of broken, and he heaved the ball deep down the right side in the direction of Cortland Sutton, who was locked up all day by Sauce Gardner. And that really hurt their ability because now it's 3rd and 13, and there they threw a short pass to Latavius Murray for minus yardage. They had to settle for a 44-yard field goal. It was actually the last points Denver would score of the game. But the combination of that false start, okay, loss of 5 yards, and also the broken play, it left them in 3rd and long. And that made it a lot more difficult to gain any yardage. Now, Denver did make the field goal, but it prevented them from continuing to drive down the field and score a touchdown. So that is play number 1. Let's go to play number 2. And this is going to be the last series of the first half. So the Jets have the ball. All right, so this is right at the 2-minute warning. Okay, so the Jets have the ball on the... Actually, this is interesting. So they had the ball on their own 45. Okay, so Zach had thrown the pass to Braxton Berrios, short pass, took it 12 yards, but Denzel Mims gets called for the offensive pass interference. The next play, Dwayne Brown takes yet another penalty, and it's a false start. So it is now 1st and 25 on the Jets' 30. They've lost 15 yards. Okay? Zach Wilson throws a short pass to Michael Carter for 37 yards. This play was enormous because it allowed the Jets to kick a field goal, okay? And then they took a 10-9 lead into the half. They were trailing 9-7, but they wound up taking the lead into halftime, and that was big because Denver was going to get the ball to start the second half. So that play was huge. Okay, let's go to play number 3. Now let's fast forward on to the 4th quarter. Okay, 8:51 to go. All right, at this point, the Jets have the ball. It is 3rd and 1 at their own 49-yard line. And the Jets are up 13-9 at this point. So you really want to see them score at this point to put even more pressure on a Denver offense that had done very, very little all day outside of the 1 touchdown drive. Even if it's just a field goal, instead of it being a 4-point lead, it's a 7-point lead, and that is pretty enormous. So it's 3rd and 1, and Zach does this great fake to Michael Carter. I mean, it almost fooled the TV cameras. But 2 Bronco defenders committed to stopping Carter. They were convinced that the run outside to the left was going to be the play. But oh no, that's not what the Jets were doing. It's a short pass to Tyler Conklin for 8 yards and a 1st down. Now, this was one of the only 3 third downs that the Jets recovered, but it turned out to be a huge one. And they wound up running another 8 plays, capped off by a 40-yard Greg Zuerlein field goal. So after that Conklin play, they were able to eat up another 4 minutes and 17 seconds off the clock. And that would be very, very important. And then the Broncos only had 2 more drives after that, and both times they turned the ball over on downs. Well, we know the last drive, technically, it should have been a C.J. Mosley interception, but that's neither here nor there. So that is my thoughts. Those are my 3 key plays. As far as what's coming up next, hey, we know what's happening. It's the New England Patriots. I'll be very interested to see what happens with Patriots-Bears on Monday night. I got to tell you, I hope New England wins because I do not need them pissed off coming into MetLife Stadium after a loss to a terrible Chicago team. That might be a little bit crazy, but I can't. It's hard for me to imagine the Patriots losing 2 straight, as well as they're starting to play right now. Well, again, thanks very much, everybody, for tuning in. I think I will have a video up pretty soon on the Rangers and just their recent pathetic performance and just how much they're underachieving. Suffice to say, I am not very happy, and I would like to wish the Houston Astros, in all likelihood, the very best of luck in the World Series. Oh, my God. How the freak are the freaking Phillies in the World Series? It's unbelievable. Better than the Braves, I guess, but still. All right. I'll see you back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.